Right there. Whoa, no! Oh, no! That's it. He crashed.
This is the moment a truck driver became an accidental hero for deliberately ramming a murder suspect's vehicle with his rig, ending a 2-hour-long police chase. Across America, everyday truckers are known for stepping up when it matters most, putting themselves in harm's way to stop dangerous criminals. Like when these 3 snowplow drivers worked in perfect sync to box in a fleeing felon. Or when this father in a lifted pickup truck lammed headfirst into a 14-year-old teenage suspect who stole his grandpa's car and led the police on a high-speed chase around a quiet neighborhood. Our first case takes us back to July 2021, when officers from the Los Angeles Police Department initiated a high-speed pursuit that would last over 40 minutes. It all started when a driver in a white sedan struck an official California Highway Patrol vehicle, barely missing the officer standing beside it. When authorities discovered the suspect had multiple felony warrants, they had no choice but to give chase. And this suspect wasn't going down easy.
Towards East LA, and that's right on the fringe of the city of Los Angeles.
The driver tore through city streets at speeds reaching 70 miles per hour, weaving through traffic and smashing into multiple vehicles along the way. Innocent drivers were left in his destructive wake as officers struggled to keep up. But what happened next would bring this dangerous pursuit to a sudden and dramatic end.
Look at the mirror. At a very, definitely some damage, some side damage there to that vehicle as he tried to needle his way through that really tight corridor there of this surface street.
As the chase went on, a tow truck driver who was pulling out of a parking lot saw what was unfolding behind him and attempted to move his truck to the left side of the road to clear the way for emergency vehicles. But the timing couldn't have been more perfect because the suspect, who was still traveling at a high speed, crashed directly into the side of the truck. And just like that, the chase was over.
With the situation, so he's got one arm out, but they're clearly giving him, and that does appear to be an LAPD.
The suspect, realizing his vehicle was completely stuck and going nowhere, tried desperately to move the mangled car. But it was useless. With no options left, he opened his door and surrendered to police right there at the crash scene. Miraculously, no one was injured in the incident.
We'll go in and clear that vehicle here and check that vehicle.
In a subsequent interview, the tow truck driver explained that his actions were completely unintentional. It was simply an accident, but he expressed relief at the outcome, stating, "It's better to end up there than under a car, than killing someone."
It's better to end up there than under a car than killing someone.
Now, while that tow truck driver unintentionally became a hero, this next tow truck driver actually put himself and his vehicle directly in harm's way to stop a suspect who had stolen an ambulance. And what he did was nothing short of incredible. In March 2020, 42-year-old Mark Giewarowski was being treated by paramedics after officers responded to a domestic disturbance call. But Giewarowski had other plans. In a brazen move, he stole a Philadelphia Fire Department ambulance right from under their noses and took off, leading officers on a dangerous 30-minute pursuit through city streets. The stolen ambulance reached speeds of around 50 miles per hour, and what's worse, officers had already shot at Giewarowski 3 times after he tried to run over an officer. But even that didn't stop him. As the pursuit continued, a tow truck driver witnessed the chaos unfolding and made a split-second decision. For more than 4 minutes, he actively pursued the stolen ambulance, trying desperately to get in front of it. When he finally maneuvered into position, the tow truck driver executed his plan perfectly and was able to flatten one of the ambulance's front tires. He even attempted to damage the radiator. And although the radiator attack failed, the damage was already done. With one tire destroyed, Giewarowski's escape was only a matter of time. Still, the determined suspect continued driving on the damaged ambulance for another 20 minutes before police spike strips finally finished the job. The ambulance came to a stop, and Giewarowski, who was half naked at this point, was dragged from the vehicle and taken into custody. The tow truck driver was later identified as Joel Hilton. When asked why he risked his life to help, Hilton told reporters that his grandmother was a cop, and he wouldn't want that to happen to her. He also added that he wouldn't hesitate to help again if needed.
As a cop down in the 1st District, I wouldn't want that to happen to my grandmother. There was kids out there. He nearly struck a couple of kids in a few blocks he was going through.
Did it feel personal?
Yeah, kind of personal, because a lot of those guys up in the 2nd and 15th, the 35th, 14th, all over the city, we work alongside of the police officers.
Joel Hilton's quick thinking and brave actions helped end a dangerous pursuit. But this next truck driver helped police box in a fleeing suspect in what might be the smoothest takedown you'll ever see. In December 2022, a truck driver from the Aero Transport Trucking Group became the hero police desperately needed to end an active pursuit. As the chase unfolded, the truck driver switched lanes to give room for emergency vehicles approaching from behind. That's when an officer in the lead pursuit vehicle pulled alongside the trucker and asked him to do something extraordinary: slowly match their speed and stay in his lane. The truck driver understood the assignment immediately. He held his position, blocking the right lane while state troopers moved in from all sides. Together, they created an inescapable box around the suspect's vehicle. As they gradually slowed down, the suspect had nowhere to go. No escape route, no way out. And just like that, with the help of one smart-thinking trucker, troopers were able to apprehend the fleeing suspects and take them into custody without a single crash or injury. The trucker executed a perfect assist with police coordination. But this next dump truck driver ended a high-speed chase without even realizing he was doing it. One simple lane change, and it was all over.
Major 41.
85 eastbound.
On June 17, 2024, a driver in a white Nissan Maxima led Georgia State Troopers on a high-speed pursuit across the freeway in Rockdale County. As the officer's patrol cruiser closed in on the suspect's vehicle, he radioed that he was preparing to execute a pit maneuver. Almost as if the suspect sensed what was coming, he suddenly increased his speed, trying desperately to outrun the cruiser. But fate had other plans. Just then, a dump truck traveling on the same road heard the emergency lights and sirens from the police cruisers. Doing exactly what he was supposed to do, the driver proceeded to move over to the right lane to clear the way. The fleeing suspect, seeing this massive vehicle suddenly in his path, panicked. He swerved violently, lost complete control of his vehicle, and crashed directly into the concrete barrier with a sickening impact.
Major 41.
85 eastbound.
The suspect was pulled from the wreckage and taken into custody after being treated for non-life-threatening injuries at the hospital. The dump truck driver had ended the chase without even knowing it. Now, that dump truck driver unintentionally became a hero without even realizing what he'd done. But this next guy, in a much smaller pickup truck, actually went out of his way to help police box in a robbery suspect. And what he did took serious guts.
Yeah, look at that now. All of a sudden the hands are up. Interesting. Wow.
That is
well, a good Samaritan getting involved here.
This police chase went down on Thursday, September 21st, 2023, when an individual suspected of robbery and grand theft auto led LAPD officers on an hour-long pursuit in his Mercedes E-Class through South Los Angeles. And this wasn't just any chase. This was chaos.
so. My guess is that the car is part of the problem here. The car was stolen. At least what we're looking at right here. Traffic is a lot heavier. This suspect has been on the 110 freeway heading north.
The driver tore through traffic at dangerously high speeds, driving on sidewalks, over center dividers, and repeatedly on the wrong side of the road to evade police. At one point, the suspect even threw objects out of his vehicle, including what looked like a gun, hoping the pursuing officers would stop to collect evidence so he could escape. But the officers stayed on his tail.
Officer that is with that person who did, in fact, catch some item that was thrown out.
As the suspect approached a traffic buildup, once again driving on the wrong side of the road, a driver in a gray Toyota Tacoma pickup truck saw what was happening, and he'd had enough. The pickup driver deliberately moved his truck into position, blocking the suspect's path completely. The suspect was boxed in with nowhere to go.
That way. It does.
Yeah, which is
yeah.
so not what LAPD wants.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
well,
hands
yeah,
up.
look at that now. All of a sudden the hands are up. Interesting. Wow.
That is
Well, a good.
Realizing it was over, the suspect surrendered in the most bizarre way possible. Instead of simply opening his door like a normal person, he jumped out through the window. He was immediately arrested and taken into custody by officers.
Their hands into someone else's hands. Of course, the suspect has to realize there are so many
Still
eyes,
really
both in the
agitated.
ground and in the air, on that suspect that that plan was never going to work, and they're going to jail regardless.
The pickup truck driver was simply fed up with the situation, especially since the suspect had endangered lives by driving into oncoming traffic. So he did what he had to do to end it all. But our next group of truckers brought a police chase to an end in what might be the most perfectly coordinated civilian assist we've ever seen. On January 3rd, 2025, 3 snowplow truck drivers were traveling side by side on a freeway when they all spotted something that made them act instantly. A suspect in a black car was leading officers on a dangerous pursuit right down the road they were traveling on. Without even communicating with each other, without hesitation, all 3 truckers came to the same conclusion at the same time. They slowly and perfectly synchronized came to a stop in the middle of the road, creating an impenetrable wall of steel. The suspect was completely boxed in, and the chase was over. Just like that. But this next truck driver didn't need any help. He took matters into his own hands and ended a 2-hour chase in the most dramatic way possible, by ramming straight into a murder suspect's vehicle. Our next case comes from a viral police chase that happened in April 2021, when LAPD officers attempted to arrest a person of interest in a murder case that had occurred just weeks earlier. But the suspect had no intention of going quietly. He took off in this gray Toyota pickup truck, hitting speeds of up to 90 miles per hour. For more than 2 hours, he drove on wrong lanes, through active pedestrian crossings, and even on sidewalks in a desperate attempt to evade police. Innocent lives were at risk with every passing second.
Right here, it's a packed parking lot at a 99-cent store, coming right up to the entrance of the store. The extreme danger. Look at this, head-to-head with these law enforcement officers. He's surrounded by law enforcement.
Then a truck driver named Ahmed Shaban saw the pursuit unfolding and decided he was going to end it himself. Without warning, Ahmed drove his massive semi-truck rig directly into the path of the fleeing suspect. The impact was devastating. The suspect's pickup truck was completely disabled, and the chase ended instantly.
Is willing to give herself up. He is wanted for very serious violent crimes, all alleged at this point, but a very dangerous driver.
Ahmed later stated that he deliberately blocked the suspect's path, but had no idea the driver would actually plow right into his truck at full speed. The impact caused significant damage to his rig, but here's the beautiful part. A GoFundMe campaign was opened for this hero truck driver, and the community rallied behind him. The campaign raised more than $95,000 toward his truck repairs. Now Ahmed deliberately put himself in harm's way to stop a murder suspect. But this next trucker became a hero without even trying. He was just taking a rest break when he accidentally ended a 2-hour-long pursuit. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. In 2021, in Chula Vista, California, officers responded to a call about a man waving a gun at someone. They quickly located the suspect driving a gray and black minivan. When they attempted to pull him over, the suspect led them on what might be one of the slowest police chases ever recorded. For over 2 hours, he drove at a snail's pace, making illegal turns and repeatedly driving on the wrong side of the road. The pursuit dragged on, with the suspect seemingly in no hurry whatsoever. It was bizarre, it was frustrating for officers, and it was about to end in the most unexpected way possible. The pursuit finally came to a stop when the suspect found himself blocked by a big rig truck and an unmarked police SUV in front of an apartment complex. The truck driver had been parked there taking a well-deserved rest break, completely unaware he was about to become part of police history. The suspect was arrested on scene, and his vehicle was thoroughly searched by officers. He was later transported to the hospital for evaluation before being taken into custody. In that case, a parked trucker became an unlikely hero, helping stop a 2-hour police chase without even knowing it. But this next trucker actively tried to stop a fleeing carjacker, and while he didn't quite finish the job, he slowed the suspect down just enough for troopers to execute the perfect pit maneuver. On March 7, 2021, in Vero Beach, Florida, a suspect later identified as Joshua McCrae carjacked a woman at gunpoint and sped off in her vehicle. He was quickly spotted by Florida Highway Patrol troopers on the turnpike, and a pursuit began immediately. As the chase went on, the suspect kept swerving around recklessly, endangering everyone on the road. But here's the funny thing, he was actually using his turn signals the entire time. Even criminals have standards, apparently. Troopers tried repeatedly to box him in, they deployed spike strips, but all efforts to stop him failed as he continued driving like a madman. Then a trucker saw what was happening and decided to take action. He positioned his massive rig and tried pinning the suspect against the concrete barrier. The suspect narrowly escaped, but was significantly slowed down in the process. And that's all the lead trooper needed. With the suspect now traveling at a reduced speed, the lead vehicle executed a pit maneuver, spinning the suspect's car and ending the chase once and for all. The suspect was subsequently arrested and charged with a whole list of offenses, including battery, grand theft auto, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, robbery with a weapon, and carjacking with a firearm. Surprisingly, he was not charged with fleeing or eluding arrest. The brave actions of that trucker didn't end the chase, but they made it possible for officers to end it safely. But this next case showcases a father who swung into action to stop a rampaging teenage driver who led police on a wild chase through a crowded children's park. And what this dad did was absolutely fearless. In June 2014, police were alerted about a 14-year-old kid who stole his grandfather's car and took it for a joyride. When officers tried to stop him, the teenager led them on a high-speed chase across multiple neighborhoods. But things were about to get much, much worse. The teenage driver eventually ended up driving straight through a crowded park filled with children playing and having fun. Kids were seen jumping out of the way as the speeding vehicle tore through the grass and playground areas. Police had to back off. They couldn't risk continuing the pursuit in the park. Too many innocent children could be hurt or killed. But one father wasn't about to let this reckless teenager endanger his child or anyone else's. This concerned father, who owned a lifted pickup truck, ran to his garage, fired up his truck, and waited for the perfect moment. As the teen's vehicle came barreling through, the father slammed his truck headfirst into the teenager's car with tremendous force. And just like that, the chase was over.
There. It was a quick-thinking parent who jumped in his truck and rammed the stolen car, finally ending the chase.
The teenage suspect was pulled from the wreckage, arrested, and taken into custody. Thanks to one protective father who refused to stand by while children's lives were at risk. Our last case takes us all the way back to March 18th, 1993, when police were led on a high-speed chase by a suspect driving a red sedan on the freeway. A box truck driver saw what was happening and decided he wasn't going to just sit back and watch. He actively tried to box the suspect in, attempting the maneuver multiple times. Each time, the suspect swerved into the median strip and back onto the road, narrowly escaping. But the truck driver wasn't giving up. The suspect, finally realizing this truck driver wasn't going to stop pursuing him, pulled over to the side of the road and surrendered to troopers right then and there. He was eventually taken into custody without further incident. And that will be it for this episode. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss other jaw-dropping police encounters on this channel. Drop a comment below and tell us which trucker hero impressed you the most. And check out the video on screen for more unbelievable police encounters.